conversation.
With a personality shaped by being an athlete and a background in mainstream sports media, I found that the stories I was most interested in telling were the ones often overlooked, the ones that might not otherwise be told, the ones that show the intangible and not just the highlight reel. The Sports Council is about highlighting the great, the good, the unique, and everything in between in the Pacific Northwest sports world. I'm Jamie Council. Thanks for joining me.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Welcome to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. I'm Jamie Council, joined by Jason Jarrett, head coach at Tri-Cities Prep. Back-to-back state champions. You guys are riding high.
Yes, we are, Jamie, and now we're back to the grind and see if we can potentially do this again. It's such a hard task just getting to the ship, but when you get there and get over the top, it is a good feeling. But like I told these guys, start of the season, the bullseye just got larger on their backs. I don't know how much larger you can get, but it's definitely very large on their backs.
With those back-to-back seasons, we've talked about it before, that you really never know what to expect. What do you think got the job done these past 2 seasons?
Camaraderie. I think the right dynamic of the players, instituting the right practice plan to, reflect on the talent that you have, the areas that, every kid's going to bring something, and that's the thing is like strategically, every year is a little bit different. We don't model, we somewhat have same formats, same layouts, same startup, those kind of things. But, every year kind of changes and shifts, and it's just depending on the team, and how we are as a team. We got some new things we're going to implement this year that we didn't do the last 2 seasons. So it's just trying to figure out what's the great path that gets us to the top of the mountain, and that's what it takes.
You've been at Tri-Cities Prep 17 years, head coach for 15 years. Mm-hmm. So you've seen a lot of success. What have you learned most during that time?
Relationships are extremely important. It is great to be able to coach younger brothers now that have gone through our program. Just the connection of seeing that historical, turning of the tide, of guys that come through your program. Or even the fact that just seeing ex-players come back to your practices, like today here, Logan's here and hanging out with us. And, of course, he's a University of Oregon pitcher and Pac-12 good dude. And, it's great to see those kind of guys come back into your program and just be part of that. And the relationships are extremely important. I think we lose that a little bit because we get so stuck in the moment and it just goes so fast. And so it's just kind of like life, right? You don't want to just let it breeze by. Take every moment you have, build each other up, inspire the people that you're around and make them better.
You guys won state championships in 2018, 2023, 2024, as well as you just talked about. There was 2 back-to-back years that you put players into the, quote-unquote Pac-12. They're working through that, but I call it the Pac-12 because that is the business entity. And Tri-Cities Prep is a small school. Mm-hmm. It's not the 4A. You guys make the big time where you're at. So what do you do here at Tri-Cities Prep that allows you to see the success you have? Because you're not just seeing the success at a small school. You have put players into a Power 5 conference.
Yeah, we just come out and you play the game right. You do it right. And then my biggest thing is learning from the people above you, and so I don't come into this position thinking I know all. Coaches are great thieves, especially baseball coaches. We all steal ideas that we see or things we see on X or YouTube. There's so many avenues. I can list you a bunch of names of coaches, that have helped me along this path to get me better. Call them and ask questions, or go to some of my fellow coaches in the community and say, hey, watch their practices. And that's the thing is like, I'm an open book to anybody and everybody. I don't have nothing to hide here. I want to see that young coach come in and be successful. Joe Taylor from Brewster, him and I have become really good friends over this last summer and sharing ideas and what he's doing and what we do. And, they're going to be extremely successful down the road. And of course, Grant Richardson, another good friend of mine from Richland High across the river. We compete like we're in the same league, you know. I mean, we're always trying to dominate each other and try to one up, you know, even though we're not part of the MCC. But I think, you know, if we were, we would definitely have some very intense moments. But, you know, it's just, that's what it is. It's about what he's doing there and what we're doing here. And, you know, we always want to get those guys to that next level. And, you know, if they got the talent and the hard work, they're going to get there.
I think that was a joke last year of who would win between Tri-Cities Prep and Richland.
I still think we would whoop Grant, but that's my opinion. I think if you asked him today, he'd probably say his team would too. So I think we just need to set it up one of these years, and we just need to make a decision to move to the MCC. I don't know. It'd make things a lot easier, but it's all good. So,
but then you mentioned Grant Richardson, you mentioned Joe Taylor, and something that I've learned in my time covering you and various baseball programs is not just the camaraderie between your team, but the camaraderie between all the coaches, as well as you guys do things like the Columbia Basin Series, All-State Baseball, the Tillage League. There are so many different ways that you promote the sport of baseball and the lessons learned through baseball in various ways. That's pretty special.
Absolutely. And that's something to say, you know, guys like Todd Gibson from Ellensburg, you know, he's a phenomenal coach. He's won quite a few state championships himself. But you think about that whole realm of those guys being there. We had a coaches clinic in February in Ellensburg kind of to kick off our season. But you can just see the thinking of those great minds and what their directive, you know, thought is and what they need to do. It's teaching the game the correct way, you know, and having the expectation of your players. And, you know, just because you're hard on a young, you know, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old, it doesn't mean that, you know, life's going to be, you know, that you're hating on your kids. You know, there's an expectation, there's accountability. And I think that we have to create that. And that I feel like in some areas in our society, we've lost that, you know, and we need to get back to that. And that's what makes us, honestly, our country so great, you know, being a U.S. citizen and being able to live here in this country and have the freedom. You have the ability to do whatever you want to do, but it takes hard work and dedication. Where do you learn that? In the game of baseball. Hard work and dedication pays off. And then when you have a guy at the plate that's struggling on off-speed stuff and he gets into that cage or gets onto that field and he works through that stuff, he is going to have success. It just takes time, but you have to be dedicated to it.
So you're a big proponent of learning life lessons through baseball, and most people know about the Columbia Basin Series, All-State Baseball. Anybody in the baseball world knows about those things that have been in place that you are a part of. But last year was the inaugural year for the Tillage League.
Yes, it was.
How did that go?
It went really great, Jamie. Honestly, it was way bigger and better than we anticipated. We had 10 teams. Part of that, we had a league championship. Everybody loved it, you know, just not only just based on the kids and the coaches, but the response from the parents and the fans. I mean, we had the championship game between two phenomenal programs there at Rec Park in July, and it was just that's what we had designed it to be, you know, the Sandlot baseball mentality, right? The old vintage way, you know, you went out and you grind, you got dirty, you got cuts, you got bruises, and then you went home and you were all friends and you all got along. And we're really looking forward to this next season for the second year, and it's growing. And so it's everything that we envisioned for it to be. But we're excited that people are excited about it, because that's what we want with baseball. We don't want it to be, I got to go out and play in another tournament. I'm going to go do. No, we want these kids to have a purpose and play for something. And that's what we created.
And Tillage League is a summer league for high school baseball players to stay close to home. So it's a fun league, but right now they are in high school season. Yes. So tell me a little bit about what people can expect from Tri-Cities Prep, back-to-back state champions.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go out and we're going to grind. We're going to hustle. We're going to play some small ball. We're going to play the unexpected moments. You know, we're not giving away too many secrets, but you know, when you think,
I thought you said you're an open book, Jason.
Well, in that sense, I guess, you know, but like, you know, you think I'm not, you know, this guy may do this. No, I'm going to kind of do outside the box, you know, and I'm okay to fail, you know, and then sometimes, and I think that's what's great about the sport, right? You know, you may have a guy bunt with 2 strikes and he executes it and you're like, dude, that coach is a genius. How does he have that confidence? And then others are like, that guy's an idiot. What was he doing? Did he not know that when you foul off on 2 strikes, that's an out? You know, so those are the kind of things, thinking outside the box, trying new things. You know, we got to, again, honestly, somewhat of a fairly young team this year. We only have basically three seniors is on this group again this year, or actually 4. But, we got only a few juniors and a lot of sophomores and a lot of freshmen out here. I mean, I think we have our number was like 11 freshmen out here this year. So we got 26 kids on this program. That's an all-time high number for us for this school, which is great. So we have 2 full varsity and JV teams, so we're sitting at 26 kids. We're going to come out and we're going to grind every night, and we're going to try to do everything, and our goal is to walk away in the W every single night. There's that expectation, and if you want to see some good baseball, come out to Tri-City Prep and we'll show it.
And what are some names from Tri-Cities Prep, players that people should know?
Yeah, so we got our senior Owen Janke. He's our third baseman. He's going to pitch a little bit for us this year, play outfield. He's kind of a utility guy. Big bat. He'll be hit number 3 or 4 in the lineup for us. We got Will Balcom, another senior. He's our first baseman for us. He played for us for all 4 years. Another big at bat, super excited to see those 2 guys and what they decide to do in regards of moving on. They got both some schools looking at them very heavily. We got Bryson Calderon. He's a sophomore, phenomenal middle infielder. Him and Jarrett Garza, who's a junior. It's like magic in motion. I mean, it's just like rhythm, harmony. Those guys are like, you want to see some guys like, honestly, they act like they're twins out here, the way they feed each other off in the sense of, picking each other up. But it's really exciting. And, we have a young freshman, Hank Harkins. He's going to be catching behind the dish for us. So, I'm always a little weary about starting freshmen, just because of the experience. But, Hank's proven himself to do really well. And then we have another one, Coulter Shoulder. He's going to be an outfielder for us. Super excited about seeing the results of him throwing on the bump. And, overall, Eden McCain, we've got a lot of guys that are going to do really well for us, but those are kind of the top ones that you're going to probably see in the, match preps or, local X, Twitter, social media, or local paper or whatever it is. Those are the kinds of guys that are going to do really well for prep this year.
We talked about your history here, and before this interview, we were talking about a lot of the success is because of the coaching staff that you've been able to cultivate here.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is like, you're only as good as the people around you. Right. And honestly, if you want to be successful, there is no way I could come out and do this. I mean, without, Mark Nelson, he's been with me for 13, almost 14 years. I mean, grinding and going through all the headaches of, parents and other, things you got to deal with as a coach and be able to either to build each other up, but just be able to have that mentality. He's an Ephrata boy. They won quite a few state championships up in Ephrata, so he understands how to win, and then we got Brady Riddle on staff with us this year. He's a player that played for me for our summer program, the Tri-City Badgers, a while ago, and now he's married and he's got kids and he wants to get in coaching. And so he took last year off, coached a few seasons before that, but now he's back on staff with us. And then actually pretty exciting is actually Mark's son, Isaac, who played for me for 4 years here. He's actually on our staff this year. So it's really cool to see, someone of an ex-player, because now I feel like I've been here doing this a long time. Now I got players are coming back in and they're like, hey, coach, we'd love to coach on the staff. So it's great to see those guys because they know my tendencies. I haven't changed. I've just gotten older and probably maybe a little bit more grumpier, and I think that's just part of life, right? So, that's part of the process, but, he knows the expectations and what's going on. And so super excited to have him on. So yeah, your coaches, the people that you work around you make your job that much easier for sure.
Well, Jason, can't say anything about the grumpier part, but I appreciate all your time.
I try not to. That's the thing. It's always positive attitude. Right.
Well, best of luck this season.
Thank you, Jamie.
Again, that's Jason Jarrett, head coach at Tri-Cities Prep, back-to-back state champions. When we come back, we'll hear from Mark Nelson, a coach at Tri-Cities Prep. You're listening to Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
As Choco Mania ends, we welcome spring with our Easter collection, starting April 7th through Easter Sunday, April 20th. 20th. Get yours now and bring in spring the sweet way. While in store, ask about adding a dozen originals for just $9.99. Watch the Krispy Kreme app for great deals. We're also booking spring sports fundraisers or fundraisers for any organization. Ask how your business can win a free dozen originals. That's your local Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
Inconveniences can happen at, well, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
You're listening to Jamie Council on the Sports Council.
We're back on the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports, and we're joined by Mark Nelson, a coach at Tri-Cities Prep. And Mark, how long have you been a coach here?
I kind of lost track. I think we're going on 13 or 14 years.
Okay.
So I was 2 years after Jason started.
What was your journey to come to Prep that you guys have seen a lot of success here and you being a part of that?
Yeah, my journey with Prep is start from the beginning. We had a lot of connections with the school, with the Catholic education, and we planned on sending our sons here. We got 3 sons, and they've all gone through the program. The 2 older boys have been through, and the youngest is a freshman. So it started, Jason needed some help early on, and my oldest was a 8th grader or freshman at the time, and Jason needed somebody, he needed help, and he talked to my wife, and she said, ask him. And I came in, we started with a field, I wouldn't even call it a field. So, we had grass base pass, a little cutout for the infield. We had a softball field and center field. And so you can see it's come a long ways since then. I told Jason, we can't expect to get kids to come play baseball here if we don't even have a baseball field. So that's where it started. We brought a backhoe in, and we tore out the infield that first year, and then it just progressed from there.
I've loved hearing the stories about Tri-Cities Prep, and the field looks great now, and you're a part of it. And then did you play baseball, or what part of baseball play?
I grew up in Ephrata. I played baseball. Yeah, I played baseball for some all-time great coaches, Dave Johnson, Marty O'Brien up there in Ephrata. As you know, Dave's has the all-time leading win record for Washington State. So he's a legend. Pretty hardcore up there in Ephrata during the day. There was a lot of expectation. I think we played scared half the time, scared of the consequences, but things have changed a lot since then, just on how you coach kids and just dealing with the way they think now. And we try to, we say a lot of these kids are getting soft, but we do a lot of talking about that and the mental approach to things. And we really focus on the mental side of the game because, in the end, that's what it takes. And, one thing that's so great about this sport of baseball is, and we tell the kids that this is life. We're preparing you to win ball games, but really we're preparing you to be successful after you leave here for the next 40 or 50 or 60 years that you're alive. This baseball is just a small piece of it. And if we can prepare them to deal with adversity here, they'll have a better chance when they get out in the real world.
And then talking about expectations, expectations are pretty high right now for the Jags being back-to-back state champions.
Yeah. It seems like we've always put that on our shoulders, even when, the first few years we struggled a little bit, but we were still winning, but we weren't just, it'd be that one game right at the end. We just couldn't win, and we finally got over that hump in 17. We ended up losing to Colfax in the championship in 17, and then beat Brewster in 18 to win it. And that kind of kicked it off. But I think we've always had, I think people, and other teams throughout the state recognize that we've got a pretty good program. So we set those expectations high at the beginning of the season. These kids know they got a target on their back, and we prepare them to put themselves in those tough situations. So when we get in those tough situations, we can perform.
And you were talking about the mentality of baseball and mentality of life in general. But for this team here, being back-to-back state champions, what are you saying to them now at the beginning of the season? Because it does take a full season to figure out what you have on the diamond.
Yeah. We didn't lose. We lost 3 kids. Well, we really lost 4. One decided not to come out this year, but we've got a lot of good kids, a lot of young kids coming through the program, and a lot of young kids that are, I look back 10 years ago and the talent that we've got right now compared to back then. I would say we're definitely more talented. I would say we were able to win back then because kids just wanted to go out and win, right? They didn't have necessarily the talent, but they found the grit and the determination. And that's what we've told these kids is, that's the thing. A lot of these kids that come in as freshmen, they expect to be on varsity. It's like, we lost 3 kids. We're back-to-back state champs. There's a lot of talent here. You got to earn your way. You got to earn your spot, right? So we tell them, they got to go out and compete every day. Even those kids that are on JV, we say, we tell them, there's going to be some spots there at the end. You need to knuckle down and work your butt off in every practice. Because there's a chance there at the end, we might be bringing some kids up. But we make that clear from the start that, nothing's ever a given. You got to earn your spot.
Yeah, well, best of luck this season. Back-to-back state champ, and you'll see what you put together this year.
We'll see. It sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right, again, that is Mark Nelson, assistant coach for Tri-Cities Prep. When we come back, we'll hear from player Owen Janke. You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Inconveniences can happen at, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
As Choco Mania ends, we welcome spring with our Easter collection, starting April 7th through Easter Sunday, April 20th. Get yours now and bring in spring the sweet way. While in store, ask about adding a dozen originals for just $9.99. Watch the Krispy Kreme app for great deals. We're also booking spring sports fundraisers or fundraisers for any organization. Ask how your business can win a free dozen originals. That's your local Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
We're back on the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. Catching up with Owen Janke, a senior at Tri-Cities Prep, third baseman, pitching this year, kind of a utility player over here.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it's been, as a utility player, you kind of don't know where you're going, but I know that any spot that we go out on, and I know that anybody out here would be able to do all the positions, and we're very good at what we do out here, and we're pretty efficient, and everybody can go anywhere, and it's just a lot of fun. And having like a whole team like that to be very beneficial. Oh yeah, very beneficial when we get in the postseason.
And Coach Jarrett is very old school in baseball, where you need to be able to be a utility player. That maybe the sport of baseball has changed, where people get so tied into one spot.
Yep.
And that's something I appreciate, and I think has really benefited Tri-Cities Prep being such a small school, that you just teach kids the game of baseball rather than how to be a third baseman or how to be this, that you guys just teach them the game of baseball. Might be part of the success that you guys have seen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like we had like last year we had Henry Douglas, which is was an outfielder, and he was a very beneficial guy. But he went in and he had one of his best outings at our state tournament, which was awesome to see, and which helped us. Which basically won us state was him being out there and having all of us, which is just very beneficial for us.
And so you being a senior now in your sophomore year, your junior year, getting a state championship, it's quite a good career you've had thus far.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like going back to back like what we have, and just is something special. Going into my freshman year, I was like, man, like our goal should be by my senior year, I want to have a state championship, and then just having it go, and a lot of things had to go right to go back to back, and man, it was great. I loved it.
And then now heading into your senior year, how's it looking like inside the locker room at Prep?
Man, it's just like being like a senior this year. It's just kind of like not having somebody to look up to. Oh wow, like there's a senior. It's like it's me now. So it's me and like my fellow seniors. So, but I think we have a younger team this year, and a lot of guys have stepped up. And just having starters come out that from last year, like just first year of high school, it's looking pretty good again. Yeah, I think we'll do all right.
And what are you saying? Because it is kind of hard to not get complacent, thinking that, it's a tale as old as time, but then there's a reason why it's that way, because just because you saw success last year doesn't mean you'll necessarily see success this year. So what are those conversations going on? Yeah,
it's like having like some of our guys have been that like their freshman year, they won state, and they haven't really, it's like, our expectations shouldn't to be, we're going to win state this year. It's always going to be a grind. We have a big target on our back, which I think also we have to remind ourselves, and that just, I feel like pushes us even further, even more to go further in the state and try to get another one to go three-peat. I think that'd be awesome.
And then for you personally, over the past year, how do you feel like you've improved your game?
I feel like I've gotten a lot smarter with baseball, just understanding the game and understanding that, like, even if you mess up or something doesn't go your way, that it's all right. You have another chance, and you can always have room to improve yourself, and which I think has helped me like through the off season, just like going into season, knowing that I'm prepared, and that and then kind of try to perfect what I've done, and but there's always ways to get better, and I'm finding new ways. Yeah.
So it's been more about the mental game for you.
Yeah, it has. Yep, and just because as long as you can always work really, really hard, but sometimes baseball is mostly just mental. So if you do something because you fail, and you just have to find a way to push through that.
And you being a senior, obviously looking to have a big spring season, but what's next for you after Tri-Cities Prep?
Right now, after Tri-Cities Prep, I'm looking to go play baseball in college. That's one goal I've always had. Contacted a few colleges, and just hoping that that goal can pan out the way I like it, but still keep my options open, seeing what's going to happen. But I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm looking at. I've got a few options, but excited.
So hoping to have a good senior year to set you up on that.
Yes.
And do you know what you want to major in?
Ag. I'm trying to go in the ag business, and because my family's very like high in like ag, and like so there's a lot of connections, I've grown up all around it. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Well, best of luck your senior year, and I'll be following you this season.
Yep.
Good luck to the Jags.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Again, that is Owen Janke, a senior at Tri-Cities Prep, back-to-back baseball champions. Again, you're listening to Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Well, that wrap up this week's show of the Sports Council. Thank you for joining me on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. A reminder, the Sports Council happens 4 times a month, 11:30 a.m. on Thursdays. But you can listen to the show not just over the airwaves at 11:30 on Thursdays, but also on demand at 1340ESPNradio.com via podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Sports Council. And it's also available via YouTube. So lots of ways to listen to the Sports Council and support our local sports community. Until next time, I'm Jamie Council. Now we go back to your originally scheduled Seattle sports program.